Before we begin today's episode, I wanted to let you know about Sakuraco and TokyoTreat, the sponsors for today's episode. They're a pair of subscription snack box services that get you delicious treats right from Japan. It's like getting a booster box every month, except you know what's inside, and you're not getting short printed. And that's because each box comes with one of these handy little booklets that tells you what's inside, where it comes from, how it's made, all kinds of stuff. It's like lore, but, for real places. TokyoTreat is all about providing you with limited edition snacks at the cutting edge of the culinary arts. You're not finding anything in here at your local convenience store. Okay, you can find Kit Kats there, but you're not finding coffee Kit Kats. I swear the Madolches are behind this somehow. Anyway, this month's theme is Sugoi Summer, where every snack in this box is chock full with the flavor of summer vacation. Sakuraco, on the other hand, is here if you really want to get in touch with the local culture, because not only are these boxes as Japanese as it gets, each month focuses on a particular region. This time around, Sakuraco partnered with the Ogimi villages of Okinawa for their delicious summer snacks. As it turns out, those villages have the highest life expectancy in the world, and each snack in here uses ingredients from that region, including shikawasu manju and their famous Okinawa cinnamon cookies, which pairs very nicely with tea. Now, I'm not saying that eating these will increase your life points, but I'm not saying that. But if I'm gonna show off how scrumptious these snacks are, I'm gonna need a little help. Delilah, let's do some taste testing. How do you do that?
Magical World Senshi Power.
Cool, okay, well, I suppose we should begin with the TokyoTreat box, and, here we go, look at this, it's, Chupa Chups, what is it, strawberry cream soda thing? This looks delicious, I think,
It looks like your hands are full, you don't really need that.
No, I think I'm good, I'm just gonna go ahead and just, good. I can already smell it from here.
Japan knows how to do it right with strawberry. You wouldn't like this.
Oh, I wouldn't? Not at all?
You wouldn't like this. I really like it. It is called strawberry cream. Okay, I would say it has a really great creamy taste and texture to it. But no, it's very creamy and soda-like if you want to try a sip.
Yeah, let me a little.
You only get a sip.
Come on!
Only a sip.
But it was so good! You were right about everything that you said, except for the fact that I wouldn't like it, because I love it. Alright, and let's go ahead and try a couple things out of the Sakuraco box here. Alrighty, so one of the cool things that you get out of all these boxes, I haven't mentioned it yet, is all the cool tableware that you get in each Sakuraco box. And this time it's these really high quality looking chopsticks. Delilah, would you like to do the honors?
Only one of us here has the skill to use them. First off, I always love it when chopsticks have the bridges. Makes it very handy for things that are more slippery to grab.
Cool.
Yeah, these feel great. Very nice, lightweight.
Alright, ultimate test. Can you obtain the manju from... can Nova open the packaging in the first place? That's the real question. There, I miraculously opened the package without any outside assistance. Now, the ultimate test. Can you obtain the manju with the chopsticks?
Is it just one whole piece?
Just one whole piece.
It's just one whole piece that you don't get to have then.
Oh my god. She's too strong. She's too strong. Oh.
Oh, that is delightful.
Uh-huh. How delightful.
So delightful. You wouldn't like it.
Okay. I gotta have a little bit.
It's like biting into a dense marshmallow of orange. It's quite, and then inside we have this nice, more solid part.
That is really delightful. Oh my gosh. And if you'd like these tantalizing treats as well, go down to the description or the pinned comment, follow the link, and use my code GOLDEN to not only get $5 off your first box, but also help the channel. I'm doing the ad read. And also help out the channel all at the same time. Thank you again to TokyoTreat and Sakuraco for sponsoring today's episode, and now, let's get back to the explaining. Okay, now you can have it.
Thank you.
I love you.
I love you too, Cinnamon Cookie.
Hello everyone, GoldenNova here. If you've watched the channel for a bit, you'll be familiar with my love of card lore. This can extend from the long-running storylines like the World Legacy and the Albaz storyline, to things that are a bit more contained like Noble Knights. Many of these smaller examples tend to draw from cultural inspirations, and it's fascinating getting to dig into where these influences come from and how they inform the archetype they're a part of. And today, we're going to explore one such theme in the Karakuris. Debuting in the November 2010 core set Starstrike Blast, this archetype of Earth machine monsters looked at old clown control lists and said, yeah, that's pretty cool, but what if it was good? And ever since, they've been leveraging their type and attribute, as well as battle position changing shenanigans, to terrorize foes with their mechanical menace, even though they do look a bit goofy. So let's crack open some scrolls to learn their lore and influence, take stock of their stock models, then see how all the gears mesh together. It's time to cause some confusion with Karakuri. But before we continue, a quick reminder to please like and subscribe if you've enjoyed my content so far. We're on the road to 100,000 subscribers, and there's no better way to get there than on our dual runners. Our next stop is 40k, which means Leo and Luna Explained, where we'll be covering Ancient Fairy Dragon's companions, the Power Tool Dragons, Morphtronics, and any other cards that are more than meets the eye. We've also got our Discord, where we now have Bagel Discourse. I also have a Twitch where you can join me for viewer duels, progression pulls, and chaos draft pulls for the foreseeable future. And don't forget about my Patreon, where you can gain access to my videos early, reach some of these milestones, as well as helping to determine which videos I make. Thank you all so much for watching, and now, back to the video. So what's the deal with Karakuris? Well, they're a series of Earth attribute machine type monsters with a focus on Synchro summoning, and all their main deck monsters share 2 effects. This card must attack if able, and when this face-up attack position card is selected as an attack target, change it to defense position. This is to emulate the Karakuri dolls they're based on, which are real things by the way. Karakuri puppets were made primarily in 17th to 19th century Japan, and are clockwork mechanisms made largely for entertainment purposes. However, because they're operated by a series of cogs and gears in a set formation, they can only really perform a preset series of rudimentary actions until their energy runs out, which is reflected in the fact that the Karakuri have to attack if able, because that's what their current function is telling them to do. Likewise, their changing to battle position when attacked is kind of like adding an input that changes how the gears interlock, changing that function. Which is a big help mechanically, because it means you can be aggressive with the Karakuri, knowing that they'll go to defense position and keep you safe from battle damage. The piercing notwithstanding. We even have an explanation as to why they're so relentless when it comes to attacking. Per the Master Duel solo mode stories, a feudal lord asked a team of engineers to create the Karakuris as soldiers for a great conflict. Notably, they're only as advanced as they are thanks to golden gears sourced from a faraway country, which can be seen as another historical reference because Karakuri puppetry really came into its own after the introduction of European clockmaking techniques and knowledge. The disturbing thing about all this is, once the conflict is over, the Shogun Burei is said to be the one that rules the Karakuri castle that was made as a fortress during the war. And that feels off, right? Like, why are the machines running a whole town instead of the feudal lord that was already established? In fact, we see from the card art a prosperous town of Karakuris with no organic life forms in sight, and the Master Duel info doesn't do anything to dissuade that premise. Once the conflict is over, the feudal lord and any humans aren't ever mentioned again, so did they defeat all the human combatants to bring the war to a close? At this rate, I'm surprised one of the Karakuri models isn't T-1000. Oh, speaking of which, you'll see MDL in all their names, which I assume is supposed to be short for model, but I haven't found any confirmation to that, followed by a number. There doesn't seem to be a pattern for why any given Karakuri has a given number, but if you take the first 2 numbers and multiply them together, you get the subsequent numbers, which I think is pretty cool. Alright, that's it for the lore section. Let's begin with those marvels of engineering, starting with Karakuri Gamma Model 4624 Shirokunishi, a level 1 tuner monster with 200 attack and 1000 defense, and as a quick effect, you can banish this card from your grave, then target a Karakuri monster you control and change its battle position. Now, on the surface, this can already keep your Karakuris from attacking when they're forced to otherwise, something that's very helpful since not all of them were made for war. But several of our cards trigger when battle positions are changed, and with the freedom to do so at quick effect speed thanks to Gamma, it makes those effects that much more versatile. Normally, they're very slow, but with Shiro Kunishi's help, those cards can really hop to it. Karakuri Barrel Model 96 Shinkuro is a level 2 tuner monster with 400 attack and defense, and once per turn, this card can't be destroyed by battle. And that's kind of it. Being durable is a plus, but it doesn't really advance our game plan beyond acting as an above-average blocker, so it's relying on its type, attribute, level, and tuner status for its utility. And to be fair, in a Synchro deck like this, that's more than enough. Sure, that means you have to start scraping the bottom of the barrel, but in this instance, that's not a bad thing. Karakuri Merchant Model 177 Inishichi is a level 2 monster with 500 attack and 1500 defense, and when this card is normal summoned, you can add any Karakuri card from your deck to your hand. Take note, this searches cards, so you're not just limited to searching monsters. Spells and traps are on the menu as well, making this an excellent card to find in your opening hand. The trade-off is that its 500 attack puts it in danger of immediate destruction in the battle phase, unless you can find a safe defense position monster for Merchant to glance off of, though ideally you'll find a way to use it as material to get it off the field first, and with the card you search, that shouldn't be too much of a problem. Not all vendors are so reliable, but Inishichi is always here to cut you a good deal of value. Karakuri Spider is a level 2 monster with 400 attack and 500 defense, and if this card attacks a dark monster, destroy the attack target after damage calculation? That doesn't feel like it belongs. Let me check the notes here. Oh, if you've played any Yu-Gi-Oh! Video games for a while, you might be familiar with this card as Mechanical Spider. It was out in the OCG for quite some time, but it never got an official TCG release until Star Strike Blast, where they printed it as Karakuri Spider, so it was in line with its original translation, which just so happened to make it part of the archetype, though it has little mechanical synergy. But I guess if you need to out dark monsters, this card is your silver bullet. And with that bug out of our systems, let's move on to the next monster. Karakuri Kamachi Model 224 Ninishi is a level 3 tuner monster with 0 attack and 1900 defense, and while this card is face up on the field, once per turn during your main phase, you can normal summon a Karakuri monster in addition to your normal summon or set. This has the same issue as Merchant, where you better get Ninishi out of attack position as soon as possible because attacking is not an option. Thankfully, any other non-tuner Karakuri in your hand can translate into a Synchro, so you're pretty set in that regard. And if you can land Kamachi onto the field in defense position, you can keep getting that extra normal summon turn after turn. It's the kind of support effect that really gets you dancing with joy. Karakuri Ninja Model 339 Sazonk is a level 3 monster with 1200 attack and defense, and when this card is flipped face up, you select a face up monster on the field and send it to the grave. And during the turn this card is flipped face up, it can attack directly. So hey, if you wanted to avoid crashing your Karakuri into a monster, attacking directly is a great way to accomplish that. But the more important note here is its removal effect. Sazonk is kind of like a man-eater bug right down to it being mandatory, but the cool thing is that it sends to the grave, not destroy. Kinda like Dingirsu. This was actually a pretty popular way to get rid of Stardust Dragon back in the day, as it avoided the destruction negation. And, because of its job, it'll also benefit from any cards that work with ninja monsters, so that's a nice bonus. But with all those gears whirring and spinning, I don't think stealth is an option. Karakuri Strategist Model 248 Nishipachi is a level 3 tuner monster with 500 attack and 1600 defense, and when this card is normal or special summoned, select a monster on the field and change its battle position. Not only is this an excellent way to keep your Karakuri from running to their doom, it can also shift your opponent's monsters to make them easier to deal with. Combined with its tuner status and that its effect triggers on special summon, this is an amazing monster to call to the field using our special summon effects. Its use in this deck isn't in question, but what I do need to interrogate is why the mechanical puppet has facial hair. Where did it come from? Karakuri Bushi Model 6318 Muzani Chiha is a level 4 monster with 1800 attack and 600 defense, and if another Karakuri monster on the field is destroyed, this card gains 400 attack. And that's not nothing because the boost is permanent, and even a single trigger gets this mighty warrior up to 2200. It's not ideal to smash your Karakuri into bigger monsters, but if you have to, at least Bushi here can leverage that into some boosts. I would say it's like sharpening your sword, but it is a wooden one, so I don't think the analogy fits. Karakuri Muso Model 818 Hypa is a level 4 monster with 2100 attack and 1100 defense, and if this card attacks, it's changed to defense position at the end of the battle phase. Another one of those Goblin Attack Force type effects, and once again, while annoying, it does serve a synergistic function in our deck by triggering our battle position changing effects. Besides, it was going to change to defense position when targeted for an attack anyway, so where's the harm in speeding things up? For all of those quote-unquote downsides, you get a 2100 attack normal summonable monster to help you deal with opposing threats. Trust me, when you see Muso in action, you'll believe the Hypa. Karakuri Ninja Model 919 Queek is a level 4 monster with 1700 attack and 500 defense, and when this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the grave, you select a level 4 or lower Karakuri monster in your grave and special summon it in defense position. 1700 isn't the beefiest attack stat in the game, but it's not nothing. If you find a chink in your opponent's armor, Queek can rush in, exploit it, and get you a free monster for your troubles. That new monster can't attack, but considering our level 4 and lower pool, that's not too bad. You can summon Strategist for a battle position change, or Komachi to get another normal summon. Oh, and of course, it's another ninja. This monster can rack up advantage in the blink of an eye, so your opponent will have to respond quickly to keep that from happening. Karakuri Soldier Model 236 Nisamu is a level 4 monster with 1400 attack and 200 defense. And when this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the grave, you can special summon a level 4 or lower Karakuri monster from your deck in face-up attack position. Now, very few of the options we can summon have good attack stats, but by nature of being Karakuri, we don't need to worry about that if we're being attacked. If we want to trigger this from attacking into a monster, we'll want to consider Queek for some revival, Hypa for raw attack, or Bushi to gain some attack over time. And like the rest of our Karakuri, Nisamu can be aggressive despite their low attack, and whenever they get attacked, they'll just change to defense position, so we'll take no damage, then trigger the floating effect. But is anyone gonna tell them that they forgot to grab an actual spear from the armory? I don't think bamboo is gonna get them very far. Karakuri Watchdog Model 313 Saizan is a level 4 tuner monster with 600 attack and 1800 defense, and while in face-up attack position, it can't be destroyed by battle. Also, when you take battle damage from a battle involving this card, all face-up Karakuri monsters you control gain 800 attack and defense until the end phase. That's mighty strange piece of tech, but at least it can go first, survive, and make it a little easier for the rest of our monsters to contest our opponent. And thankfully, an Archetype-wide 800 attack buff is very substantial. Who's a good boy? Who's a good mechanical doggy boy who helps his Shogun? It's you! Yes, it's you! Karakuri Bones Model 9763 Kunamzan is a level 5 monster with 2000 attack and 1500 defense, and if this card is in your hand, you can target a Karakuri monster you control, and on resolution, change its battle position, and if you do, special summon this card from your hand as a tuner, which is a wild piece of support, but it does lock you into only being able to special summon Earth Machine monsters from your extra deck for the rest of the turn. But if you've built your deck around it, that's more than reasonable. This is one of the newer pieces of support that the deck got this decade, and it is fantastic. Being a level 5 tuner is beyond helpful, and changing the position of one of your monsters is super rad. It also seems the machines are starting to grasp the concept of spirituality, so we might be getting close to a near automata situation. Not a bad thing, honestly, I'm just curious to see where it goes. Karakuri Ninja, another ninja? Really? Karakuri Ninja Model 7749 Nanashik is a level 5 monster with 2200 attack and 1800 defense, and when this card is normal summoned, you can draw a number of cards equal to the number of face-up defense position Karakuri monsters you control. That's not entirely out of left field. Komachi is both tribute fodder and an extra normal summon to get your Nanashik onto the field. And since you want to get your non-offensive Karakuris in defense position as soon as possible, you can certainly get a few cards off that tribute summon. However, with the advent of more focused and efficient lines of play, going out of your way for a variable draw just isn't as appealing. They also have, like, zero tact. They're waving that gear around, and considering present company, that's like ripping out someone's bones and showing them off. Very gross. Please cease. Alright, that's all of our main deck monsters. Now it's time for the big boss synchros. Karakuri Shogun Model 00 Burei is a level 7 Synchro monster with 2600 attack and 1900 defense, requiring a tuner and one or more non-tuner machine monsters as material. When this card is Synchro summoned, you can special summon a Karakuri monster from your deck, and once per turn you can target a monster on the field and change its battle position. They're a nifty way to enable more position changing effects, on top of just keeping your Karakuris from running into big threats. And because you get to summon another Karakuri from your deck on summon, you can bolster your field with Komachi's extra normal summon, go on the offensive with Hypa, or summon another tuner for Synchro climbing lines. With all the things Burei can do, this Shogun is just showing off. Karakuri Steel Shogun Model 00X Buredo is a level 8 Synchro monster with 2800 attack and 1700 defense, requiring a tuner monster and one or more non-tuner machine monsters as material. When this card is Synchro summoned, you can special summon a Karakuri monster from your deck, very familiar, and once per turn when the battle position of a face-up Karakuri monster you control is changed and remains face-up, you draw a card. Note that, while this effect can only be used once per turn, it's only once per turn per copy, so the more Buredos you have, the more draws you can get. And it functions on both players' turns, so if your Karakuri Small Fry gets targeted and it changes its battle position, you get a sweet new card for your troubles. And like Burei, you get to summon a new Karakuri to use as you see fit. Though, really? Steel? You know that we're going for an all-wood aesthetic here, right? Way to clash with the ensemble. Karakuri Super Shogun Model 00N Bureibu is a level 9 Synchro monster with 3000 attack and 1500 defense, requiring a tuner and one or more non-tuner machine monsters as material. And like its previous incarnations, when Synchro summoned, you can special summon a Karakuri monster from your deck. While Bureibu is on the field, monsters you control in defense position can't be destroyed by battle, which is, as the kids say, both based and poggers. And once per turn, if the battle position of any number of face-up Karakuri monsters you control is changed and remain face-up, you can target a card your opponent controls and banish it. Ooh, that's some honest-to-goodness removal right there. And like the rest of the Synchros, this card lacks any hard once-per-turn clause, so the more you summon, the more banishing you get. So the title Super isn't just for show. I mean, it's wielding a double-ended katana. Tell me that's not cool and I'll know you're a big stinky liar. Alright, that does it for the Synchros, now it's time for the spells and traps. Karakuri Cash Cash is a normal spell that has you selecting a face-up Karakuri monster you control. You add a level 4 or lower Karakuri monster from your deck to your hand, and change the battle position of the selected monster. Sadly, we can't search out our monk friend Bones with this, but we can get Merchant, who can in turn search Bones. The fact that it's a search spell that needs a bit of setup is a little awkward, but as far as Rototype searches go, there are a lot worse. And bonus, it'll turn your not very offensively minded Karakuris to defense position, so you don't have to worry about them being forced to attack. Though I feel like this is going to get obsolete sooner rather than later, since most everyone is switched over to debit and credit cards. Soon having a giant cache of cash will be untenable. Golden Gearbox is a quick play spell that has you selecting a face-up Karakuri monster on the field, and it gains 500 attack and 1500 defense until the end phase. This depicts the precious golden gear that makes all the Karakuris tick, and gives them a little extra oomph in combat. You can use this on the offensive for a slight but effective boost, or when your Karakuris get attacked to give them a major defense boost. However, it's not technically name-stamped as a Karakuri card, so you can't search it, and many other quick play spells, namely the Forbidden ones, do a lot more in terms of utility. So you're really better off just leaving your golden gearboxes with me. If anyone can appreciate their golden splendor, it's me. Karakuri Gold Dust is a quick play spell that can only be activated during the battle phase. You select 2 face-up Karakuri monsters in attack position. You change one of those monsters to defense position, and the other gains attack equal to the attack of the monster who had their position changed to defense until the end of the turn. Now, this can end up being a much stronger combat trick, though it does limit you to only one attack. But that's not entirely a bad thing, as you might just need to dissuade some of your Karakuri from attacking to make sure they don't bite the gold dust. Runaway Karakuri is a quick play spell that selects a face-up Karakuri on the field, and until the end phase, it gains 1000 attack, but its effects are negated. So at the drop of a hat, you can make your monsters super beefy, and as a bonus, can be a big surprise to your opponent. Imagine they attack into a Hypa, imagining they'll be forcing it to defense position, when all of a sudden you drop Runaway Karakuri in response to its changing effect, and now your opponent has committed to attacking a 3100 attack monster who now won't be changing their battle position. It's pretty wild, and while it's a huge boon in some ways, it's not so good in others. For instance, you can't combo this with kooky because despite the massive attack bonus helping you get over monsters, since its effects are negated, you won't get to revive a Karakuri from grave. So make sure you use this sparingly and don't let your imagination run away from you. Karakuri Gamma Oil is an equip spell that activates by targeting a Karakuri in your grave. It's special summoned, and you equip it with this card. Once per turn, if the battle position of any number of face-up Karakuri monsters you control is changed, the equipped monster gains a permanent 500 attack and defense boost, even if this card is no longer equipped. And thankfully, the equipped monster won't be destroyed if Gamma Oil is destroyed. Having Graveyard Revival is pretty nifty for our big Synchro combo deck, and the fact that it's searchable off of Merchant is incredible. And while I wouldn't say the attack and defense buff is super relevant, it's nice to have just in case games go long, taking even moderately powerful monsters and turning them into real battlefield threats. And it's about darn time, too. Proper machine care involves regular oiling. Why'd it take this long to get our hands on some? Karakuri Anatomy is a continuous spell, and each time a Karakuri monster's battle position is changed, place a Karakuri counter on this card, maximum 2, and you can send this card from the field to the grave to draw a card for each Karakuri counter that was on this card. This has a lot of Six Samurai United vibes to it, and while this card is a little harder to pull off, it's not as easy as just plopping Six Samurai onto the board, it's still a valuable way to dig through your deck to get to all your combo pieces, and make up for any minuses. It's also very interesting that it's called Anatomy and not Manual, which goes a fair bit towards characterizing the Karakuri as a fully fledged civilization and culture. But that begs the question, are the images on this scroll as gross to Karakuris as one of our anatomy books are to us? Like, does it have a bunch of pictures of skinless Karakuri? Karakuri Showdown Castle is a field spell, and when a face-up Karakuri monster you control selects an opponent's face-up monster as an attack target, you can change that target's battle position. And when this face-up card on the field is destroyed and sent to the grave, you can select a level 4 or higher Karakuri monster in your grave and special summon it. So now you can turn the tables on your opponent. No longer are you the only archetype that gets changed to defense position when attacked. Now you can force that on your opponent's monsters as well. And you're not even limited to just that, because you can also take a defensive monster and turn it upright to deal some damage. And if your opponent ever gets tired of dealing with that, a destroyed castle floats into a big Karakuri from your grave. While you can't revive your useful level 3 and lower ones, kooky makes for a great summon, as well as any of your synchros, because for some reason, the level restriction is level 4 and higher, because that makes sense. While this card lacks a lot of panache in the modern era due to power creep, it may be worth it to tech in a copy or two as a battle position problem solver. And like, are you really gonna pass up having a sweet castle? I know winning is what's important, but you gotta have some style. Karakuri Cash In is a normal trap that targets a Karakuri monster you control and an effect monster your opponent controls, and changes the battle position of your monster, and if you do, negate the effects of your opponent's monster until the end of the turn. And if you control any number of Karakuri monsters, you can banish this card from your grave, then target a face-up monster on the field and change that monster's battle position. So its normal activation is searchable effect negation, which is pretty sweet, and while in the grave it works as another copy of Karakuri Gamma, except it can change any monster's battle position. Cash In is a wonderfully powerful card, and continues the Karakuri tradition of amazing puns. Godspeed, you funky little robots. Karakuri Clock is a normal trap that can only activate when a face-up defense position Karakuri monster is selected as an attack target, and it destroys all face-up monsters your opponent controls. Wow, that sounds really powerful, since most of our Karakuris will change to defense position when targeted for an attack. Unfortunately, that's a bit late, as they have to be in defense position when being targeted for that attack. Now, this does mean that if you special summon your Karakuris in defense position, your opponent will have to be wary of this, and the prospect of a quick effect Lightning Vortex is pretty sweet. The issue is, well, player knowledge. If you hard draw Clock, then all the better, but you don't really want to play a lot of this card, so you'll be reducing your chances of doing that by playing fewer copies. You could resort to searching it with Merchant, but then your opponent knows you have a massive counter waiting in your back row, so they'll know not to trigger it. However, a funny way to trigger this on your terms is by using Creature Swap, giving your opponent one of your Karakuris that are already in defense position, because as it turns out, Clock doesn't specify who has to control that Karakuri, just that a defense position one is selected as an attack target. Truly, Clock is the most Rube Goldberg device of our entire theme. Karakuri Trick House is a normal trap that activates only when the battle position of a face-up Karakuri monster you control is changed. You select a card on the field and destroy it. While this has a less explosive effect than Clock, it's actually much easier to pull off as it can be activated anytime a face-up Karakuri has its position changed. And it can hit any card, not just face-up monsters. This can be in response to an attack or something you trigger on your own. That means that even when searched and your opponent knows about it, because you have a lot more control over it, it's still one heck of a removal option. Duelists hate it. Karakuri found out how to out boards only by changing battle position using this one weird trick. Karakuri Cash Shed is a counter trap that can only be activated while you control a Karakuri monster in face-up defense position, and it negates the activation of an opponent's spell or trap card and destroys it. And while it lacks the option of stopping monster effects, you have cash in and off-theme options like Solemn Strike to deal with those. And now, more than ever, you'll need spell and trap negation to keep your board safe. Cards like Lightning Storm, Infinite Impermanence, and Fusion Destiny can really mess up your day, and if your opponent doesn't drop a trap card for it, this can also put a stop to Forbidden Droplets. And we can't discount this as a tool to stop our opponent's plans as well, keeping them off powerful cards like Rite of Aramasir, Sword Soul Emergence, and Basil Rose Shoot. So, despite the myriad disasters that can plague any given duel, Cash Shed here is really good at putting out those fires. Alright, so that's all the Karakuri cards, but what do we do with them? Well, despite our odd tendencies to manipulate battle positions, our ability to combo out material and make big boards puts us squarely in the aggro camp. We're gonna leverage as much of the Earth Machine support pool as possible to enhance our game plan, make a field of multiple Shoguns, then overpower our opponent in a gigantic wave of Clockwork chaos. But what can we play to help them out? One big piece of Earth Machine support I think we can all get behind is Urgent Schedule. While most of our Karakuri only fit into the level 4 and lower category, Bones is more than capable of being our level 5 or higher. And if we pair Karakuri with something like Infinitrack, then Trencher makes for a great target. Now, its revival effect from Grave only works with Infinitracks, which is why Anchor Drill makes for another fine inclusion, as it can summon another Karakuri from your hand when summoned, and can help with level modulation. How cool is that? Vernalizer Fairies are also a dream to have in this deck. The only summon lock in this theme comes from Bones, and it only restricts your extra deck summoning. And the Vernalizers only lock you into Earth Monster effect activations, so it's all gravy. Combined with these forest critters, you can gain even more damage output, recursion, and more negation thanks to their sweet new boss monster, Vera the Vernalizer Fairy Goddess. And once you get Flower Crown online, your Karakuris will benefit from all the Vernalizer's Fey protections. It's hard to go wrong with a little bit of splashing from Machina. Citadel is a great board wipe and comes back to the field when your Earth Machines are destroyed. And with the help of Machina Overdrive, you can summon it out lickety-split and gives you some good recycling for your machines while netting you a draw. Specifically, you can shuffle back banished Gammas so you can use them again. As for other Synchro payoffs, since all the Shoguns summon another Karakuri from your deck to Synchro summon, which means more tuners, any Synchro that requires non-tuner Synchros as material are on the menu. I'm looking at you, Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. And since all of our monsters are Earth attribute, the Naturia Synchros, Goyo Guardian, and even Double X Saber Gotems are fair game. As for a silly tech pick, it's gotta be Deskbots, baby! While we're no longer in the age of Halkdon combos, we still have the Halk part, and it's still as easy to make as Normal Summon Deskbot 3, Special Summon Deskbot 1. You can summon a Karakuri tuner off that summon, and then proceed to your regular Karakuri combos. Then, during your opponent's turn, while you have your Big Shogun and Halk, you can trade it out for a Formula Synchron, and now you can access Excel Synchro monsters. You can make things like Stardust Warrior to stop inherent summons, Shooting Star Dragon TGX to stop targeted interaction, or, if we want to just go for the Excel Synchros and not the Delta Excels, we can summon Satellite Warrior as a quick effect pop to blast a whole field, leveraging all the Synchro monsters we have in our grave. And that's all I have to say about Karakuris. They're a fascinating little deck that doesn't fully embrace the position changing as a mechanic, rather it just uses it as a trigger for other, more powerful things like drawing and banishing. But it adds a lot of flavor to an archetype brimming with potential, and they're a heck of a lot of fun to play. And that's something I'm not changing my position on. But now, I want to hear what you all have to say. Do Karakuris put the work in Clockwork, or are they going to need a bit more fine-tuning? Let me know in the comments, and if you haven't already, please make sure to like this video and subscribe to show your support, ring that bell so you don't miss an episode, and share this video with someone you know who loves Yu-Gi-Oh! It really does a lot to help me out. And another big thank you goes out to Sakuraco and TokyoTreat for sponsoring this episode. If you want to get your hands on our delicious, authentic Japanese snacking experience, make sure to use my link in the description and use code GOLDEN to get $5 off your first box. And by doing so, you get to support the channel all at the same time. What's not to love? Today's episode was also brought to you by my lovely patrons, including this month's illustrious Quasar Commander, Ashling Waltz, Nebula Navigators, 3rd Dynasty, Ava Gule, Adams Ajdel, Cryptic Gamer, Eric, Frankie, Genesis Yu-Gi-Oh!, Gloomba331, Great Big Pillock, Howling Zangetsu, Inblink, Ironic, John Manji, Julius Sneezer, Larakia, Mighty Action X, Meteornus, Panther J, Rebel King Lucifer, Ruxith Sarani, Shooting Star 3300, The Fresh Prince of Con-Air, The Wizard Moose, Tyler Cranston and Xander Wolfensberger, Cosmic Crusaders, Bear Sharktopus Studios, Chaz Ghost, Corbinisms, Cozy Boat 275, Harry the Ominous Benefactor, Jesus Garcia, Manga Pages, Marion James E. Picata, Nitromo, RGS, Rem T. Bright, Star-Lord 777, and the Legendary Raven, as well as the wonderful Starlight Explorers you see on screen now. I'm only able to continue doing this thanks to the support of these lovely people, so if you'd like to be a part of these credits, as well as help me in my journey to cover all of Yu-Gi-Oh's archetypes, please check out my YouTube membership or Patreon links in the description to see if I have anything you'd like on offer. And if you'd like to hear me talk about another Earth Machine theme, check out this video I did covering Infinitrax. And if you want to see two Yu-Gi tubers going at it, check out Noah Jenkinai's latest series Progression Polls, where your voice shapes the format. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.